Today we're going to be testing out the Mesa 400 grill by Monument. And I'm not going to go easy on it either. I'm going to give it a monumental challenge by testing its claim that it can grill 18 burgers at the same time. And not a bunch of wimpy little burgers either, these are all going to be quarter pounders. So can this Mesa grill live up to its claim of cooking a whole barbecue's worth of burgers all in one shot, or will it get grilled? Let's jump in here and find out. I'm going to be using these parchment paper sheets just to keep things separated so I can get the burgers on the grill nice and quick when the time comes. And as far as what type of beef to use, I've seen a lot of debate online about this. Some people like to grind up their own tri-tip or whatever, but for me there really is no debate. The ideal beef is going to be 80-20 ground chuck. And I'll explain why real quick as we get these into formation. To start with, the fat content is perfect at 20%. That'll give us nice juicy burgers, but keep the flare-ups from being too extreme. And the other major thing is that chuck comes from the shoulder region of the cow, which does two things. It means that the meat is going to be tough if you don't grind it or slow cook it, but it also means that the meat has a lot of flavor. That's actually one of the things that annoys me about fancy restaurants that claim to be serving sirloin burgers and things like that. Not only are you wasting the tenderness of that cut of beef, but you're also getting less flavor in your burger. So it's stupid twice. And the only other thing I like to do to these is season them real simply with about a teaspoon of salt per pound and fresh cracked pepper to taste. And just a quick word to anyone out there who might have been thinking about adding breadcrumbs or beaten egg or onion or anything like that to your hamburger meat.
Don't do it! Don't do it!
As a general rule, toppings belong on a burger, not in a burger, so there's no reason to really ever add anything to your meat unless you really need to stretch the meat out a little bit. Give them a little pat just so they know we care, and one of the cool things about using the parchment is I can fold these up and they store great in the fridge until when I need them. But before we get sincere with cooking our burgers, let's check out some of the features on this grill. The fact that you can actually light these little knobs is great for nighttime grillers like myself. And as we get it lit, let's just have a look at the propane burners. We can see they're nice and even. That's important later for even cooking. So I'm going to go ahead and get it relit with all the flame guards and grill grates in place. In total here we have 4 propane burners and a cooking area of about 29 inches by 18 inches, which is huge. And a total maximum heat output of about 60,000 BTUs. Now to get those nice grill marks, we do want to give the grill just a couple of minutes to heat up before we start throwing our burgers on here. But once our grill is at a great temperature, we can go ahead and grab our burgers and just start laying them on here. As you can see, I was able to get 3 quarter pounders in one row, which is pretty incredible because when I make these inside, not only does it fill the house with smoke, but I can really only cook 1 or 2 at a time. Whereas with this Mesa 400 grill, my main problem was just getting them on here fast enough. And as you might be able to tell from how clean the grill is, this was actually my first time using it, so I wasn't sure if I'd be able to get all 18 on the grill or not. But the proof is in the pudding, as they say, and not only was I able to get 18 full quarter-pound burgers on the Mesa 400, but I felt like I had a little wiggle room there at the end where I probably could have put a kebab or 2 on there too. And needless to say, unless you work in a restaurant kitchen or something, this will probably be the largest number of burgers you've ever grilled at one time. And while I get the last 2 on there, I think it's kind of silly that we're turning plants into burgers these days. I mean, haven't cows been doing that since, like, forever?
Wow!
And because I like a really good sear on my burger, I'm going to leave the grill on high as I cook these on the first side for about 4 or 5 minutes. Now, ideally we'll only do 1 flip, but it's not that big a deal if you have to do multiple flips. Basically, once I see it cooking around the outside like that, it's time to flip. And as we do, we're almost definitely going to get some flare-ups, but don't worry, that's just a little extra charring for our burgers. And while I get the rest of these flipped, did you hear how the hamburger introduces his wife? Hey, meet Patty. Alright, now that we have them all flipped, we just want to cook on this side for another 3 or 4 minutes, depending on how well done we like our burgers. And if the flare-ups start to get a little too intense for us, we can always close the lid. And because this is a propane grill, it's designed to keep running even though the lid is closed, but closing the lid is still going to cut down on the flare up significantly for us. It can even help trap all that smokiness in the grill, getting us a little bit of extra flavor. And if you're like me and you like your cheese melted on your burger, to prevent a huge mess in your grill, this is the time to do it. Right at the end, I'm going to lay on a couple of slices of cheese and close up our grill just for another 10 to 15 seconds. We can even cut off the grill at this point. There's plenty of residual heat left in there to melt that cheese, no problem. So as I pull these glorious quarter pounders off of here, does the Mesa 400 live up to its claim of being able to grill 18 burgers simultaneously? Absolutely it does, with room to spare. I guess you could say this grill can cook a whole Mesa burgers. And if you'd like to get one of these awesome grills yourself, I will put a link down in the description. I really hope you've enjoyed today's episode of Passion for Food. If you have, don't forget to give me a thumbs up below, subscribe, and hit that little bell so you don't miss our future videos. And check out one of my other recipes on the screen now. This has been Graham with A Passion for Food.